Alright, so if you are planning on retiring in Florida, getting that beach retirement, or even if you're more kind of towards the villages and such, just retirement in Florida with that warm weather, Pensacola may or may not be for you guys. I'm going to be diving into a few different things. First, I'm going to kind of compare like the Pensacola metro area of a few other more popular areas like maybe Central or even South Florida, kind of the difference between those. Then I'm also going to dive into some different areas. If you are planning on retiring within the Pensacola metro area, what your interests are and where you might want to live based off of those interests. Before I dive into this video though, guys, it's funny. I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld's one of my shows that I go back and watch, I'd say every couple, 2, 3, I guess whenever Netflix decides to throw it back on the entire series, right? And going back in, it's just Jerry's parents, for those of you who are familiar, he comes in and his parents come from Florida because they retirement, and that was like the thing back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s. When you retire in Florida. Now, I was thinking about it. When I was younger, I think I had the mindset that, man, I can't wait until I retire so that I could then move to Florida, not knowing that like into the middle of my adulthood, I would be living in Florida.
What are you doing here? I told you I was retiring. I moved in next door.
It has been fantastic, and we have not regretted it whatsoever. Alright, let's go ahead and dive into a few of the differences that you are going to experience when we are talking about Pensacola compared to a few of these other areas. And when I talk about other areas, I mean the one that comes top of mind, obviously the villages. It's like the ultimate community when we are talking about retirement. So you're talking about more Central Florida, right? Even like that northern central portion within Florida. Or a lot of people always talk about Naples, that more southern portion of Florida, or even like the Keys. These areas is what's really like the hot spots when we are talking about retirement in Florida. It is warmer, and that is one of the biggest things, the biggest differences when we are talking about comparing Pensacola to these other hot spots within Florida when we are talking about retirement. Now, when we're talking about summertime, there's really not that big of a difference. The difference that I've noticed personally, since we do own a property right outside of Clearwater, between pretty much Clearwater and Tampa, is it does feel like the humidity is not as extreme up in Pensacola as compared to that area. Now, I can only imagine that if we're talking about more South Florida, it might get a little bit more extreme, even though if you do Google this, it shows that humidity really isn't that big of a difference. I personally have noticed a difference. The biggest difference when we are talking about temperature though is going to be more in your fall, winter, springtime. It does get a little bit cooler up in the Pensacola metro area, and we have talked to a few of you who are like, you know what, I do love Pensacola, I love the area, I just don't want it to get that cool when we are talking about retiring and actually living in Florida. And that definitely throws a wrench into things when we're talking about snowbirding. We personally have family who wants to purchase a place here. So if it's something where you're not too interested in having pretty much summer and then mild summer, just somewhere a little bit warmer. Say you're coming from like the northern end of the United States where it's cold a lot. You just want it to be a little bit warmer, but you do want to experience the shift in seasons. Pensacola might be a great option for you, but if you are looking at somewhere that you want to retire to where it is warm consistently, Central and South Florida might be a better idea. Another thing about this Pensacola metro area, and we've talked to a few of you who are planning on retiring here, is we don't have very many 55 plus communities here. I mean, the majority of people that you do see retire here are coming here more for the active lifestyle as opposed to living in a community that's strictly 55 plus. Now, I am talking about purchasing. If you are looking at communities where you can rent into those, I don't know too much about them because we focus strictly on helping those of you who are purchasing real estate here. But yeah, 55 plus communities, those super high HOAs for a 55 plus community, it's super rare here, if at all. I really haven't experienced many of them at all whatsoever. Majority of the larger communities that we do have here, they do have an HOA, but it ain't nothing compared to a lot of those 55 plus communities that you do experience more in Central and then also South Florida. Super high HOAs. I mean, we're talking 700, 1,000, even more of those monthly HOAs in Central and South Florida. Pensacola, we just really don't have that. And so that's another thing about this area is HOAs are pretty limited here. Most of the HOAs you run into here, they're very minimalistic. They're not super over aggressive when we're talking about the regulations that they do have within their HOAs. I experienced like more strict HOAs back in Colorado than I have in this area right here. We currently live in an HOA community, and the biggest thing that we really see is like your shared grounds maintenance. That's the only thing that it really takes care of. Outside of that, I mean, they might get on someone if they're kind of violating a few of the rules and bylaws or something like that, but it's not super restrictive. It's actually super cheap here with the HOA, and that's the other thing. So when you don't have as many 55 plus communities, you do not have as many HOAs within the Pensacola metro area. All right, so what I did is I itemized a few different interests, a few different activities that you might like to do relocating to this area, and what might be the best areas for those. So the first one and the biggest one that we always kind of talk to you guys about who are planning on relocating here, well, okay, there's two, but here's one of the two, is going to be golfing. If you want to live within a golf community within the Pensacola metro area, where exactly should you live? And I'm going to take all these, and then at the end of it is I'm going to talk about, okay, this might be the ultimate place because this encompasses the majority of these topics that we are talking about, the majority of these activities, and so this might be one of the best spots when we are looking at retiring within the Pensacola metro area. So golfing. Golfing is one of those top things that you guys do bring up when you are planning on relocating down here. Now, I know a lot of you might not be into golfing, but I will lay into like some of the great areas, some of the great golf clubs within the Pensacola metro area. And these aren't all of them because there are quite a few, but I tried kind of picking up a few of the top ones when you guys are reaching out and asking us about these golf communities. So Scenic Hills. Scenic Hills is actually like straight west of UWF. It's this like great little golf community right in the UWF, the University of Western Florida. It's right there. I actually think that it's owned by the UWF as well too, but this is one of the top spots when you guys are looking for those golf communities that's not super close to the beach, a little bit more like inland from the beach. Biggest reason you're like, the hurricane hits, and obviously I want a little bit of a buffer, and so a few of you have chosen this area. Another great golfing area is going to be over in the Perdido area, and there's two different areas there's two different clubs that I wanted to mention when we're talking about Perdido. So there's the Perdido Bay Golf Club, and then there's the Lost Keys Golf Club. One is pretty much across the bridge, more in the Perdido Key area, and then the Perdido Bay one is on the mainland before you cross over the bridge. Two different golf communities that you can choose from when we are talking about these golf communities to live within or also to retire within. Tiger Point is another big one, and Tiger Point is actually where our family decided to live, is within a golf community. We love Tiger Point because not only do you have access to this golf course, the Tiger Point golf course over here, you also have access to restaurants, you have access to grocery stores, to Lowe's, in your golf cart, and that's something that we really loved, that we did have that access, and it seemed like a lot of these other golf communities didn't have the same access with your golf cart to those other amenities outside of the golf club that we did in Tiger Point, and that is why we chose this area. And then going down a little bit further east on 98, we're going to be talking about the Navarre area, the Holly by the Sea area. We've got the Hidden Creek Golf Course, and we have actually helped a few of you who want to relocate over into that area. It is a great area. Holly by the Sea is an HOA community. The HOA is not bad whatsoever, though. It depends on which area of Holly by the Sea that you do live within. But the HOA fees aren't that bad, but you can have that golf cart, that golf community lifestyle living over in Holly by the Sea in this Hidden Creek area. The third one that I am going to cover, and a big reason why a lot of you do plan on moving or retiring into this area, is we're going to be talking about fishing. Where should you live if you want to go fishing quite a bit? Obviously, majority of this is going to be, fishing out in the Gulf or even within the Sound. Before I do that though, guys, if you are looking at purchasing real estate here in the Emerald Coast, Pensacola metro area, give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below right there, we always answer. We've been helping out so many of you guys. It's been amazing. I freaking love it. I love going out, meeting you for the first time, talking to you on a Zoom call for the first time. It is awesome. I enjoy doing it every single time. It doesn't matter who you are. We love talking to you guys. But if you're not quite ready to purchase, make sure you follow along and educate yourself by smashing that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell, that way you're notified every single time we put out a brand new video. Alright, so fishing. There's two main spots that I would kind of recommend if you are planning on pretty much either living on the water or close to somewhere where you can go straight out onto the water. And we're going to be talking about Perdido Key and then also Pensacola Beach. These are the two main spots that I would consider. Now, Pensacola Beach, it would take a little bit to get out in the Gulf because you pretty much have to take the bay out and around. You have to go west out into the outlet and then into the Gulf right there. Where Perdido Key, it's really not that far if you are planning on going out into the Gulf and doing some fishing. We actually have helped someone who moved from Central Florida over into the Perdido Key area because they knew that deep sea fishing, they didn't have to go out as far over at Perdido as they did down where they were in Central Florida. So that's something I was actually new to. I was like, really, that's interesting. I would have never thought of that because I never really did saltwater fishing. I was in a landlocked state. But yeah, it's like these are two great spots if you do want to fish. The good thing is there's like this fishing community also over in Pensacola Beach. There's this like community right behind Peg Leg Pete's over if you go like, so if you go out to Pensacola Beach and go straight due west just a little bit, probably about like a quarter to a third mile, out there is just, all these houses are right on the bay right there, and they're like, they have all their boats, you could go out fishing and do all the great things. And so if that's your lifestyle, that's what you want to do. There's also canal neighborhoods as well too. So even over in Perdido Key, Pensacola, even if you want to just like be in a canal neighborhood that's off of the sound, there's some great spots, you know, down the highway in Gulf Breeze, Navarre. You got a few different areas that you can go to, but I'd say the top spots if you are wanting to do a lot of fishing is definitely going to be Pensacola Beach and or Perdido Key. I'm trying my best to cover these different things, just gaining information from when we talk to you guys, and a lot of you have different interests. Some of you might be like, I don't want anything to do with golfing, I don't want anything to do with fishing, but what I do want is I want walkability. I want to take advantage of that cute little quaintness of Pensacola downtown. And so where should I live so that I can just walk straight into downtown and take advantage of all the events, take advantage of gallery night that they have. I think it's every third Friday of every month. They just want to be able to take advantage of that walkability, retire, and just be able to go out, maybe go look at the bay a little bit, you know, down if you go all the way south. If you were wanting to do this, I'd say the best spot to go to have that walkability is going to be the Seville area. It's just directly straight east of downtown, straight east of Palafox. You have the Seville area right there, and that is an awesome area. Great walkability to all the different activities, all the different shopping amenities that you do have on Palafox, that main strip going down Pensacola downtown. If you want to go a little bit further to the North Hill district, which is just straight north of there, the walkability isn't the same as Seville. It's not like a super short walk, but it's, you know, probably depending on how fast you're walking, like a 5 to 10 minute. Even biking can give there pretty dang quick. But yeah, this whole area right here, I'd say that's where I would recommend if you want that walkability over to Palafox to be able to take advantage of the downtown and all the activities, all the awesome things that it does offer. And this one has been popping up quite a bit. We talk to you guys and you say, or okay, so we always ask you, what's your lifestyle? Why are you moving to this area? And you tell us that you want to feel like you live somewhere where you are on vacation every single day. There's two different meanings to this, because like I said, I try. What does that mean, right? Does that mean that you want to be in the middle of a tour zone, or does that mean that you want to be somewhere with a serene beach? You just walk out, you see the ocean, right, or the Gulf right there. You see all the water, and like, what is it in your mindset when you say you want to be on vacation every day? Because vacation can mean two different things depending on the person. And so, if you want to be in the scene, on vacation, party mode, all the status like that, that is definitely going to be Pensacola Beach, and you were going to feel that. Yes, we do have seasons here, so it typically just started picking up. So spring break it picks up, and then I say that goes all the way through until probably like September, sometimes in the beginning of October. That is going to be the party scene right there. But if you want to be on that serene vacation, kind of away from a few people, you know, it does get some tourists over there, but I'd say Navarre Beach. Navarre Beach, it is pretty freaking awesome when you're talking about that vacation zone and just being on the serene beaches. It's a little bit quieter over there. When you do go over there, you see a lot of people who are walking, who are out on their bikes, who are kind of doing that kind of lifestyle of being on vacation, but still having that beach setting in the background, which is fantastic. So it just depends on what you're talking about when you are looking for that vacation spot that you do want to live in. With all that being said, and I'm going to throw something else in here too, because we do help people who are retiring here and where they do end up choosing. But if I personally was retiring, moving down here, and I was taking all these factors in consideration, I wanted to do the fishing, I wanted to do the golfing, I wanted to have that kind of vacation, that beach setting, Perdido Key is kind of where I think I would pick, because I feel like when we're talking about those beautiful beaches, it is the most buffered when we are talking about the tourists who are going to be going over there. It is the furthest from the airport. Well, okay, you could argue Navarre might be a similar distance, but it seems like it's just like kind of buffered in its own zone over here, and you have all these awesome activities. You heard me mention how they have 2 different golf clubs over there that you can take advantage of. They have a canal neighborhood over there, so say you don't want to live straight on the sound, straight on the water, you could take advantage of those canal neighborhoods, be able to do all that fishing that you do want to do. The only thing that you will not get being over in Perdido Key and Perdido is going to be that downtown walkability. Obviously, it will take you a good drive to get over into Pensacola downtown, but this seems to be the trend, that when we are helping out so many of you who are retiring within the Pensacola metro area, you fall in love with that Perdido Key area. And I can see why. Like I said, it's just an awesome space. We personally love it. We love going over there all the time and just kind of hanging out, even showing clients over there. It's a beautiful place over there, and it does seem like it's a little detached from the Pensacola metro area, your own little kind of slice of heaven or slice of vacation. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. If you are looking at purchasing real estate here in the Emerald Coast, Pensacola metro area, give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right there. We always answer. It doesn't matter day or time. But if you're not quite ready to purchase, make sure you follow along. Educate yourself by smashing that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Notification bell. That way you're notified every single time we put out a brand new video. Till next time, we love you. Bye.